Over to you, George.
Yes. So, hello everyone. Hope you're all keeping well. Obviously, thank you for having me on. And yeah, I'm going to cover just two things: dry dropper flies, patterns, and streamers. I know it's kind of very opposite side of fishing. One sits on top of the water, and the other sinks fairly rapidly. Um, I was thinking about doing nymphs, but there is a guy on here who is a fantastic fly dresser when it comes to the side of nymphs, and I'm sure and I hope he'll get on here at some point um,
Or,
and talk.
but I like talking to asses. Let me put Malcolm on mute. There we go.
But anyway, so this what we'll do first is I'll quickly show off my brand new vise. So recently I just took delivery of Regal Revolution stainless steel. I know they're expensive. They are expensive, but for me, they are a work tool. It's like a hammer. It's like a drill for a builder. Spend the money and it'll repay you very, very easily. I used to have a cheap vise, as you would have seen in two of my demo videos or two of my tie-in things that I did with you. You'd have seen this vise. It served its purpose. I've had it for, I'd say, 15 years. Absolutely nothing wrong with a cheap vise. But wanted an upgrade, managed to get myself an upgrade, and I really do recommend this vice. I'm not endorsed by Regal or anything, but they are a lovely, lovely vice. Sits anywhere between a size 3.0 right up to a size 24, 26, which suits me perfectly because I'd be tying pike flies right up to size 24 dry flies. So that's out of the way. I'm going to do a little bit of a, well, I wouldn't say it's controversial fly, but this is my bubble sedge, the Burdess Bubble Sedge dry dropper. It's probably had about five names because, as I've discovered with saying this with this pattern, it's similar names to other tires. Unsinkable sedge, I did call it, but I think Lindsay Simpson has that term or fly coined. So this is my bubble sedge, and basically it's a dry dropper fly. I use this fly mostly for when I'm bringing clients out on the river, so they can see this great big fly, and it's a little bit hard not to miss. And if you're, and it's yeah, you don't really need any like gink or any other dry material on this pattern because within 3 or 4 false casts, it's dried off, and you can run it through a drift again. It's a very very good dry dropper pattern, I will say myself. It has gone through some changes, but this particular pattern now has it's done the job. It's I think I might go down another size at some point, but size 12 I'm pretty happy with. So what I'm using is the Fulling Mill living larvae hook. One of the reasons is for the bend of the hook for when I'm attaching tippet material on. It just sits a lot more snug when I'm attaching my dropper fly onto the hook. Of course, other hooks are available, but that's my preference. So I'm using the light brown Fulling Mill 70 denier. Nice thread now, in fairness. If I do break it, it's probably because just getting used to the vice itself and everything else. So we'll go wrap around to the bend, find me pink scissors.
On the size 12, George.
Size 12, yeah. Size 12. Um, so I'll probably end up mentioning my colleague here a couple of times, Dan O'Neill. Dan, do you want to just quickly say a quick hello? And where's he gone?
He's disappeared somewhere.
Might be somewhere. Dan O'Neill is my mentor.
For the day?
don't think he is. I think he's dropped.
No, I know you got work to do. I just wanted you to know I put on the flight time.
Okay, he doesn't seem to be there. He might be there. I think he might pop in and out. But Dan O'Neill is my mentor. For both for my App Guy Ireland fly casting qualification and also for guiding mentor as well. So I'm in my second season of guiding. So Dan would prefer if this particular pattern would be a size, I think size 14, size 14 and 16. But for me, when I'm bringing people out, I want them to see this fly. And when I build this fly up and tie this fly, you'll see why Dan actually prefers this particular pattern to be smaller, because what will happen is fish will actually come up, and it has happened a couple of times where they nudge they nudge the fly. They don't take it initially, but they nudge it and they follow it, and they don't know what to make of it. But like I said, size 12 is perfect for seeing as an indicator fly, because I can't bring myself to use a bung. Just I can't do it. I can't do it, guys. Really can't. So what I'm doing is I'm putting in green floss as a tag to imitate it as a egg laying caddis. A couple of nice turns. And then back up the way. And this is just fluorescent green. You don't necessarily have to put the butt on, but I found that the butt does actually help trigger fish. All the way back up to the bend. Oh. The camera's a bit jolty. It's because the camera's just in close quarters with me. In, goes off, and make our way to just the start of the floss. Now, the thing with dry droppers is it's all about weight. So, it's again another bit of a controversial topic. Some certain sizes of hooks,
I don't know if it's your internet, George.
count my wraps. So if I go, what's going on? It's probably mine. I'd say the laptop is probably having a conniption out because of the heat.
Sometimes I have it with mine as well.
I'll just close a couple of apps there on the laptop. Zoom will keep that open, keep everything else open, and close that. I'll just close that.
Seems to slow everything down, doesn't it?
It does. Now that I think this laptop's like 15 years old, or it's old enough laptop, so it's good for doing PowerPoint presentations, but it struggles on Zoom. But so we can all hear me okay? Everything's hunky-dory now?
Yeah, it's up and running again.
Fantastic. So the thing with dry droppers is weight, and that's something with, like I said, with the smaller flies, I tend to count wraps, because if you're tying, say, like a size 20 dry fly, and you're tying on a hackle and you do 5 turns of your threads when you only need 3, that's adding weight. And it's the same with like these dry dropper flies. You've got to consider weight into this, and by adding certain material as well, you want to encourage it to basically stay afloat for as long as you can. So first bit of float material is CDC. I hope it's okay to product name, but I've been using the Kindale CDC, and honest to God, it is genuinely fantastic CDC. It's very clean in the packet. The fibers are very, very clean. I'm really impressed with this CDC. I've used all sorts of CDC from different brands, different makes, and this particular CDC genuinely is really good. So what I'll do is I'll get 4 plumes of CDC and roughly match the sizes. So 4 nice big plumes. And what I'll do here is flip them around. Brush the fibers all the way up. So I'll pinch them like that. And then what I'll do is wax my thread.
It's slightly out of focus, George.
No, I don't know.
I think
Better?
there we go. Yeah.
Dan will have to give me a crash course in using this camera again. He does a lot of his video content with this for the rivers and lives on Facebook with these with this camera.
Well, you stepped in at short notice as well.
Well, I was just very lucky that I was actually guiding yesterday, so I called up to his house, and grabbed it from, borrowed it from him. He's got all the kit and equipment and stuff. So, let's see. So once we got our CDC tied in like that, we're gonna get our dubbing, and again, it's going to be which one is it? Spectacle yellow, green, Fulling Mill, Euro Nymph, Thorax dubbing, caddis green. I think I've got the empty packet.
Yeah, buddy on his fabric.
See if I can find the empty packet, because I've used it, tie that many of them. I've run out of it, so I need to get a. So no. Anyone see that? That's the name of the dubbing.
Yeah.
And then the color then is this one then. So it's a nice green now. Really, really nice color. So
Yeah.
get some nice dubbing out. Create a dubbing noodle.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is actually just use the vice, because I just caught myself with the camera. Oh, and we want to leave enough room, because we're going to be adding a air wing, and we're also going to be adding a hackle post as well. So we want to make sure we leave enough room. So the next bit then is to fold our CDC into the bubble. So what I do here is I fold any excess hackles back, excess fibers, tie in, make sure everything's sitting snug on top. A bit of
Any chance you can change it to manual focus instead of autofocus?
let's see now. Video settings. I'll just see if I can do that. HD.
Yeah, if you change it from autofocus to manual focus, that should cure it.
Done something. hang on. I am horrifically bad at this camera setup and stuff. Video, HD video, maintain original virtual background. So, okay, I'll just throw the just figure that's 2 seconds out.
Oh, it's been a warm one today.
Just a bit
Yeah.
melting.
Yeah, you've not been out in an open top car all day, Derek.
No chance.
I have.
Whatever for?
I had to take it for an MOT.
Try working in it, even harder.
Sorry, no, folks. I'll just try and get this figured out here, just so.
You're all right, George. Just take your time.
I mean, one thing I wouldn't mind being having a few pints now this evening. It's that sort of evening now where a few pints of lager would be nice.
Nice cool Guinness.
Oh no, too warm for Guinness. Guinness for winter, cider for summer.
Is it?
Yeah, that's how I know a good few people do it. Guinness for winter, cider for summer. Oh, it's hard to get good Guinness outside of Ireland now.
Yeah.
How was the BFFI this year? Was there many there?
It was chocker on early on the Saturday, and then it sort of died off about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But there was a match on, wasn't there? So that's probably why.
Six Nations, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's the fact that we all run out of money, Derek.
Have you been spending it on open top cars, have you, Jim?
Yeah, I've had a little freewheeler for years. But bloody hell, it's hot out there today.
Yeah.
Gosh, truth.
The old cars without the roofs, they don't have any air conditioning, do they?
No, the air's pretty hot.
It's like what's it called? Land Rovers. It's why Land Rovers were the first inventions of air conditioning because they naturally had holes in the flooring
And at the front.
and the roof.
Yeah.
And everywhere.
Yeah, the air's about 30 degrees, though.
Okay.
Don't worry if you can't get it properly in front, George.
I can't seem to figure out what the right thing is.
That's perfect.
That's better, is it?
Yeah. That's perfect.
Is it? We all happy?
Yes, fine.
Okay, I've done a thing then. I've done something. All right, so sorry. Oh, now we can see that. Yeah, pretty good for the moment. I won't jinx myself. So once we tie on wax to threads, tie on the stalks, and then we cut off the stalks as close as we can. There is one job I do need to do, and that is to actually find someone who sharpens scissors, because these need a good sharpen.
Simon will do that for you.
Yeah, I'm hoping I can make it to the British Fly Fair next year, either with Deer Creek or with Cadence. I've just become an ambassador with Cadence Fly Fishing this year. So hopefully either or. It'd be nice to catch up with you guys. So we see all these kind of loose kind of stragglers here. What I do is I'll push them back with me finger and thumb, and then I'll just lightly pinch fibers just to shorten them a little bit, just to tidy it up. You can cut them off, but a little bit easier to pinch them. So, and then what we'll do is we go back up then, and we get our deer hair. So again, it's on the base. This particular patterns is like on the base of a elk hair. Sorry, is he going to bed? Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. 2 seconds. Sorry, someone's just gone to bed there. Future fly tire.
Future fly tire, bless him. How old is he?
He's 1.5 years. Hang on, will we say hello to the camera? Will we?
Yeah.
Come here, mister. All right. Come here, mister. He loves
Hello, little fella.
fly tying. I don't know if you can see, he is already playing with the bobbin holder. Yes.
Yeah.
We go around. Gentle. Yes. Good job.
Yeah.
Well done.
His little face.
Oh, he was casting a rod there about a month ago. Put my fly rod down to, was doing some fly casting and put it down, and he picked it up and he started casting.
Wow.
What do you reckon, mister? We do some? Yeah. Good job. We go around like that. Good job. Now, good job. Good night. All right. Say bye-bye. Good job.
Good on you.
I tell you, there'll be times there where he gives out because I put him on the floor to give him back to mum, and he just wants to sit on my lap and just tie flies with me. I'm like, I've got guiding tomorrow, so I need to get these flies sorted, and then he'd be there giving out to me. And yeah, he loves sitting on my lap tying flies. So I think there's no way of getting out of it for sure. So we get our deer hair. So like I said, it's on the basis of a elk hair pattern. You can either use dark row patch. If I'm doing like darker patterns and using the dark wing, I'll fish them more in the evening time. Whereas if I'm using like the lighter row, I'll use this, the lighter patch, for more kind of morning sessions, kind of afternoon sessions. I don't know why. It just works. Yeah, I can't really explain as to why that particularly works. Yeah, darker roll for the later evenings compared to lighter roll for the morning. There, hair tapper.
I'll send you Simon's address. You can send the scissors to him. He'll sharpen them for you and send them back.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Because I know I got to get me waders over to Diver Dave
at
some point as well. So I may just get a package share, get a couple of things together to send internationally. So once we have our deer hair stacked, what I do is just flick any loose. Because this is, I believe it's a summer patch, summer row, there's not a lot of underbody fur to brush out. Now I'll do it anyway out of habit. Just, yeah, took too much out, so I'll have to reset that. Yeah, I don't know if people knew this at all, but with summer hides, there's less, obviously, underbody fur. So there's less fur to actually brush out, whereas you get a patch in the winter time, a lot more underbody fur, and different color as well. The winter hides are a lot darker in color. I personally prefer summer hides. It's that way. It's less work having to comb out any underfur. So what we'll do is we'll measure the wing, and all we'll do is we'll roughly just go just slightly in front of the bubble. So a little bit too much deer hair there, so we'll just pinch that out, pinch it out, pinch it out. Set everything up on top. Pull back, pinch and loop. So with this now, what I tend to do is I don't wax the deer hair when I'm doing my first couple of loops, because I find that if you do that, it all just locks up when you go to tie it in. So a couple of wraps, and then we push down the deer hair and pull up at the same time, and then work our way through. Work our way back. The excess then. And then underneath. And then we want to make sure that the eye is nice and clear. What we do then is we tie in the rest of that, making it nice and smooth. And then if there's any hackles kind of sticking out too much to the side, just clear them off. So that's our deer hair now on. So the next stage is the power post. So you're probably thinking this is a lot of material on one fly, but it is a pattern that stays afloat without the use of gink. Now you can use gink, it does work, but I mean, I've had, I think, 3 hours session fishing on my own, and I haven't had to use any gink with putting it onto the pattern. If I find the fly is getting sunk and getting wet, all I'll do is I'll blow dry it or use banjo string, which is basically kind of elastic band on the chest pack. Put it in and just pull the line, and it just dries the fly out very effectively. Good tip that Dan O'Neill actually showed me. So I'm using Fulling Mill ultra dry yarn. Sometimes I'll use white mixed in with this, but I'm going to stick with the brown. And we're actually going to fold it over 4 times. So sorry there. I'm just going to little suppose hack and trick I think everybody should have in their fly tying kit. Just hear me out. Is a file, and anyone that works outdoors will obviously have rough hands and stuff, but sometimes calluses around the fingers, it gets caught up in the thread, and as you're trying to tie on material, it usually gets caught up in the callus. Now I just use as a finger file just to smooth off any of the calluses.
I use one as well, George.
It's, ever since I won't say discovered it, but ever since I kind of realized it, I've been, how would I say, not breaking my thread as much when I'm trying to tie in material.
Yeah.
Because all it takes is just one little bit of a callus, and you're in the middle of tying deer hair or anything, and it just pops off, and you gotta unwrap it all and tie it on again. So now put our power post on. there. Two, three, four. What I'll do then is I'm going to push the hook up slightly at an angle. Just that way I'm not working downwards. And then what I'll do then is just slightly twist the power post. Just that way, just gets nice and snug. Like so. And what I'll do first is I'll actually create my wedge at the front of the power post first before I start tying up along the post. So that way it stays nice and snug. And what we do then is we tie our power post, or create our power post, should I say. I'm still learning the techniques of the clink hammer. It's and I have my own sort of way of doing it, and you know there is the right way and the wrong way. And I'm probably doing it the wrong way, but you know what? The way I do it is the way I like to do it. I should really do a blue Peter job next time and have, here's one I've made earlier. Just like that. See, this is a little bit of a tricky bit because you've got the deer hair and you've also got the power post, so you don't want to catch the deer hair. Right around. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. A couple of little half inches. That's a meter roll. Now, nice tall post. I'm just going to cut off that little tall bit so it doesn't get in my way. There we go. And then what we'll do then is we will attach our hackle fiber. So I'm using a Ewing. They're kind of the new in brand tackle and they are fantastic. This is a badger cape, and you know what? It's one of the nice natural badger capes I have ever seen. And for this cape, cost me £30, and it is really, really smashing quality. I'm not associated with Ewing, but I am started using their capes, and genuinely, I'm really, really impressed. We're at a kind of, I think we're at a kind of a funny sort of time with fly tying where you can either spend outrageous money for capes, like 120 odd euro pound, I'd imagine, for the whiting, or you're spending very, very cheap money for rubbish capes. But we have, in my opinion, a nice medium in the middle, reasonably priced, good quality, nice lot of fibers on them, and that's the Ewing cape. Other hackles are available, of course, but it is really, really nice hackle now. Their dry fly hackles are nice as well. This one's kind of a semi kind of cock hackle. It's not stiff fibers, but it's not too soft. It's kind of in between, which is kind of perfect for my type of tying, where kind of I'm all doing all rounded fly tying. Not just specifically dry flies as such, but also wet flies. I'm going to make a couple of people here scream and roar because I'm going to cut the hackle in half. I can hear the shocks now. I got told off. Myself and Dan O'Neill did a lot of Facebook Live over the winter, and I did that, and I got a bit of backlash over it. People like, don't do that. It's bad things to do, and the reason that is because when I tie in this fiber, it's too long and it'll just get in the way. So all we'll do is we tie in our fiber.
You can tie so many flies with those hackles.
Yeah, they're nice now. The saddle hackles. It's nice. It's I don't know. I suppose a satisfying feeling when you're getting bang for your buck. I know. Obviously, you can get, if you want to spend up to 100 odd pound for a whiting, that's fine. There's no problem. I'm not going to judge you on it. But for me, I like the quality, but I can't justify the spend. For the sake of maybe certain hackles, I'll only tie maybe 1 or 2 patterns with. So now that hackle is on, we're going to go back to the deer hair here. Then you get our dubbing. Apply some more dubbing. And that should be enough just there. Now, normally, what a lot of people do is they'll put the dubbing up to the eye, whip finish off, and then retie on the post. To be honest, I don't do that. Horses for courses on how you do a parachute fly. I know Garrett Lewis does a fantastic parachute flies now. But me, I'm a little bit rough when it comes to this particular type of technique, because I've got maybe 20 of these patterns to tie and not a whole lot of time, especially with a toddler running around. So I'm very limited on my time. So all we do then is we take the hackle, we start wrapping around. No particular amount of turns, just as many turns you can cram in. Again, this particular fly, its purpose isn't really to catch fish as such. It is just an indicator pattern. It is for people to see where their Euro nymph is, or where their nymph is. So what I'll do here is brush those fibers back. I'll do kind of a half turn up the eye, like so. Change the fibers back. And then I can feed those hackles out. I'll tie on like so. Again, people will say, oh, that's not really how you tie clinghammer pattern. Or listen, everyone's different. I find this the easiest way, rather than trying to tie on the post, whip finish on the post. So once we have that tied in, cut off any excess with my not so sharp scissors as they used to be. And some more. And what I'll do then is I'll take a small pinch of dubbing. Right up to the eye. Apply. I'm not going to apply a resin. I'm going to apply just a varnish, because you got to think of weight. By adding a resin, you're just applying just weight. I know it doesn't make a difference with this particular pattern, but with certain dry drop flies, I'm just always conscious of the weight. And then we finish.
There's no way that's going to bloody sink.
No, I tell you now, it does float very nicely. And then the last thing to do, my final little tip with this pattern is don't leave the post too high, because what happens is, and I've learned through trial and error. Sorry, no, I'll just tell the vices. There we go. If you leave the post too long, basically a lot of water gets in to basically into the post, and it just weighs it down, and it's harder to dry out. Again, but you don't want it too short where you don't see it. So there is a bit of a happy medium, and of course, you only get really one chance to actually. It's about perfect. And if clients can't see that, what I then tend to do is put on a yellow sticky patch. And if they can't see that, then they're not even probably looking where the fish are. But that fly, it is monstrous. I can't even say the word, but rather big. But it works very, very well as a dry dropper fly. So that is my ultimate bubble sedge, the Burdess Bubble Sedge, dry dropper fly. So I'll just, there we go. So yeah, I'll take any questions if there's any at all.
Oh, silence. They just want to see you do another one.
Go on, there's got to be one question. Someone's got to have something for me. Yeah, I've done something. No, are we all good?
I think they're happy with that.
Fantastic.
Possible bonus food there, actually. I will go for Thanksgiving.
See now. Okay, fantastic. I've just done something to that. And now, sorry, I put the deer hair on the mouse pad and it's just done something. There we go. That's it. Now, fantastic. So next dry dropper I'll do it on a size 14. I would do it on an ultimate dry, Fulling Mill ultimate dry hook, but I don't have them in a size 14. So a all-purpose bronze will have to do. What is it? 1550. So again, dry dropper patterns, all about the weight and the wraps. So I'm just going to swap threads over. I'm going to go to brown.
Before you adjusted it, it was perfect in focus. It's gone out again now.
I'll just
There we go.
I'll just thread up. And does anyone here actually do any dry dropper fishing at all on the rivers?
You find a lot do, George.
It's a method we use a lot when we're guiding, just because usually when we bring people out, it's people that have never picked up a fly rod before. So we got usually 3 hours to teach them how to cast a fly rod, catch them a fish, and ensure they have a good time. So we're under a lot of pressure usually in those 3 hours. So we use dry dropper because it's just a lot easier to do. So there we go. Fix the focus. All right.
No, not quite there yet for some reason.
Yeah, I'll just tie on and just see.
Put your hand behind the vise again. There you go. That's it.
Oh, geez, I nearly feel professional doing this. So what I'll do is make a couple of wraps and I'll just adjust the hook. And we'll just go in front of the barb. And I'm going to find, or attempt to find, my properly on fibers. There we go. So properly on. Would use medium, but I can't find the medium, so I've gone with, I think this is ginger speckled. Not that it makes much of a difference, as long as there's a bit of a tail on the fly. We'll take off a couple of fibers.
Yep.
Measure the length. Inch in the loop. And then what I'll do then is I'll do a couple of wraps just underneath. So it flares up. Now sometimes I might split the cochleon just so it's. Sometimes what I find is with the cochleon is the tail, which is a little bit hard to see. There it is. Yeah.
I get mine from Ed Madrigal. He has lovely Coeur de Leon.
That is exactly who I was using. It's fantastic stuff. I actually bought this when I was last at the BFI. I think it was maybe two or 3 years ago, and it is fantastic stuff. So what I'll do is sometimes I put the thread through the center of the fibers just so it splits. That way it's not all stuck together. And then what I'll do then is tie up, and I'll just leave that little bit of cochleon.
There we go.
Because what I want to do is I want to taper the body. So with the body, I'll either use, if I'm doing really small flies, so likes of let's see, 18, 20s, 22, 24s, I'll use turkey bites, just because it's a lot easier, a lot longer fibers. And then if I'm using anywhere between 12, 14, 16, I'll use turkey bites. So far, best ones I've used is the Kindale ones. Really, really, really good. I'll just say I'm not associated with Kindale or anything, but I'm really, really impressed with the quality of the product, of the material.
Have you tried Steve Hankins, Magpie Materials?
No, I can't say that I have.
You want to? They're cracking. They are.
I'll definitely give look into him. So what I'll do here is tie on the goose bite. A turkey bite, is it? No, goose, and then fold those fibers back So we help create a tapered body. And then with our thread then, we just want to make a little bit of a carrot-shaped body. Just have to keep the bobbin in short because just with the camera. Is that hook is going nowhere. Thread I'm using is 18.0. Again, it's because it's smaller flies. I just want to keep everything kind of condensed and smaller. Now, what I'll do here is, well, what I was going to do is put some super glue, but I'd say the missus has probably hidden the super glue from her son because he probably would have found it. Oh, no, that's not it. Yeah, I'm not going to go rooting. So what I do here is, again, Blue Peter moment, is I would put a little bit of super glue on, oh, there it is, right there. So we can actually show you just the tiniest, and I do mean tiniest dab of super glue on the body. And then I'll make my wraps with the goose bite. And the reason that is I don't want to put resin on over the goose bite because that just adds weight. And what I'm trying to do is just reduce weight. Now, granted, you can say, well, there's a good chance that the fish will break the goose bite. That's a good point. However, you probably have maybe eight of the same pattern in the box, maybe 6. Or if you're like me and you guide 20 of the one pattern, which gets very tying. So then what I'll do here, once we have that on.
I find the goose bite shorter, so give Steve Hankins a try. They're really nice long fibers.
Well, that's what I found with the ones that Rich gets from Kindale. Is
Yeah.
they're nice and long because I use the Vineyards ones, and the Vineyards one are fine if sorry, I'll just try and focus this camera. If I'm doing like buzzers, but very difficult to use if you're trying to do you know, any small or any big patterns like 6, 12, 16s, hard to use. So then we'll cut off the excess. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with this camera. Again, I'll just have to get Dan to give me a crash course in setup.
That's it.
There you go. Better.
Yeah.
So as you can see, the body's nicely tapered. Again, I'm not putting any resin whatsoever on this particular on the dry dropper because I want to keep the weight to a minimum. So what I'll do then is I'll get my, where is that fly gone? Should I say? So nice ginger hackle. This one is, I believe it's Bronte hackle. Sorry, not ginger, it's olive. Sorry, I say this heat is probably getting to me.
You need to grab yourself a drink.
No, not at all. Not at all. Tie on the hackle, the shiny side inwards, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 2 plumes of CDC, 2 long plumes if you can. I'm just going to quickly find 2, well, medium to long. So there's 2 nice long plumes. And just put the rest away. Now, what I will say is with this pattern, it'll only hold maybe size 20, size 20, size 22, 24 nymphs with maybe 2 mil, 1.5 mil beads. So whereas the other pattern, on my bubble sedge, the Burdess Bubble Sedge, can hold 2.5 mil, 3 mil, 3.5 I've had. Like anything else with anything, those big 3.5s, you want to be very careful casting them, because they will very easily break the tip of your rod if you don't know, if you're not watching. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hackle these two plumes together. What I'll do first is I'll just push them two fibers or two stalks forward so it makes it easier for hackling. Sometimes it is easy to split the thread, but with this particular thread, I find it a little bit tricky to split. What I'll do is, for the purpose of tonight, I'm going to see if I can split it. Split it. If I split this in the first go, I'll be very amazed. Nope, I'll just break the thread off. Nope. That's a science in itself I need to learn, is splitting threads. I know flat threads split easier, but one. Blue. Sorry, no. Turn it off. Each time
Tying by the tip is easier than splitting the thread sometimes.
it is, yeah. I keep forgetting sometimes certain patterns I'll tie with the stalk in with this the bottom end of the stalk. And sometimes with the smaller patterns, it's easier to go with the tip rather than the bottom. All the way around. Hackles. 4, 5. Nice and tight. The excess. And then what I'll do then is I'll just run this olive hackle. I'll push all the fibers forward. And there we go. Now I'll run this olive hackle through. Maybe 3 turns, 4 turns. Usually it's 4 turns, but just because with the spacing. Inch and loop. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the start. What I'll do here is just change the angle of the hook. So when I whip finish, I'm relatively level. And what I'll do then is a little bit of resin. Again, smaller flies, I won't put any resin or even varnish on. I'll just wax and pray that it just holds. And a lot of times it does. And if the fly just comes undone and gets unwrapped and unraveled, well, then I'll just put a new one on. And finally, what I'll do here is probably a little bit of a crime, but I will cut the bottom off. That way it sits perfectly flat in the water.
Right in the film.
Pardon?
Right in the film.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, this one can be fished as either single dry fly or with a dry dropper. So, but this particular one, it'll only hold really small, small beads, and you probably would have to put some gink and stuff or floatant on it, because it just doesn't have the material like the previous fly. But this one's worked well for me in the evenings.
Have you got a name for it, George?
Not really. It's one I saw on Instagram, and I kind of looked at it. It was similar enough pattern. I was like, take a bit of this and a bit of that, and yeah, I basically kind of just threw that together. Does the job, catches fish, which is obviously what you want. Sometimes I think the original pattern did have, I think, dubbing, I think either fox squirrel or hare's ear, kind of at the back here. But again, I just want to be conscious of weight, because sometimes too much dubbing will just weigh the fly down. Any questions on that particular pattern at all?
So we'll call it a does the job dry dropper.
That sounds fantastic. I like the sound of that. It's a very sparse pattern. And sometimes that's that's what the fish want. And sometimes that's what the fish will take, sparse patterns. I've seen guys that have tied really beautiful lock flies, Irish lock flies, like beautiful, and then they've sold them, given them to the guy. I think a friend of mine actually told me this. He tied some really beautiful Irish lock flies, gave them to the client. Client was like, "Oh yeah, fantastic, thanks." And then he pulled out a strip of Velcro and literally ragged the flies apart. And poor Billy was there looking at him like, "What have you just done? I've spent ages tying you them flies, and you just literally ripped them all apart." He goes, "Oh yeah, that's how the trout like them. They like them rough and ragged and looking." Yeah, poor Billy was like, "You know what? I'll say nothing."
That'll also fish well just on its own.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's sometimes the key. And I'll do that sometimes if I find that there's trout rising. I'll literally cut off the dropper right off the bend and just get them to fish this on its own. Maybe throwing an aerial men's reach cast, depending if what angle we're facing. Wiggle cast if we're directly upriver on some faster water, or a reach cast mostly. Very, very good handy cast. I think it's a cast that everybody should know how to do, a reach cast. So we'll now turn to fly number 3, a little bit opposite, complete opposite to something that sits on the water, to something that's going to be sinking on the bottom of the water. And that's basically kind of a bog standard streamer pattern I use. Use at the start of the season. I use a lot of streamers at the start of the season because usually the water is pretty high and it is very hard to get you can get to the bottom all right in certain parts, but it can be tricky enough. I'm just going to try and attempt to find the hooks. Thank you.
Derek, welcome. I'm going to have to leave now.
That's all right, mate.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much, George. Sir.
No worries. Thank you very much for attending. I'm just going to pause the video a second. Where is me? And just going to search around, see where I dropped those hooks. Oh, there they are. Okay. Okie dokie. Now, so hook I'm using is a size 10. It is a Kindale. Kindale standard jig, barbless. Good hook once again. You guys can see me okay?
Yeah. The voice is slightly out of focus, but you'll get that in a minute.
Yeah. So once I throw on the bead and the hook, so I'm using 3.8 tungsten. I should probably relish these beads because the price of them is gone ridiculous. I know I've got some larger beads now that I'll probably not use. So for context, so yeah, 3.8, right? 6.8 tungsten, which are absolutely absurd compared to, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong camera here.
You're not going to put a 6.8 on that, are you?
No, but I've got some lovely fully milled jig hooks that I got 6 and 8. I got for the fun. I saw when they come out, I was like, I'm definitely gonna get some of those just for the fun. Still to this day, like I've only tied 2 flies with them. I've actually given one to a lady called Jess McLaughlin. She's a guide, an American guide, and she based out in Patagonia. And I was at the Italy show and I showed her the fly and she loved it, so I gave it to her. And I says, yeah, you don't want to be using like a 4-8 rod for casting that now, but yeah, 6 points, yeah, 6.4 tungsten. And God Almighty, the weight of them. I still haven't really come up with a pattern as such to use. I'll probably end up using them on the course lakes for instead of the split shot lead.
That'll create a tsunami when that hits the water.
Oh God, yeah. So we put our. Some people like to put when they put use the what they call tungsten beads. They will put some lead behind it. Personally, I don't, because I mean I'm already using enough weight, and if the fly is not hitting the bottom, then you're probably using the wrong line. You should be using die 3 or die 5, 6, 7 if you really want to get to the bottom. So that I'm using is, I think it's just some white flat thread. I can't remember where I picked this up at, but it splits very easily, which is what I need. So let's see.
Put your hand there, George.
That focus, is it?
Put your hand there. There you go. Perfect.
Now, so first thing I'll do, again, I'll just flip the hook up like that. I probably shouldn't have focused it, but I'm going to get some very Kindale orientated, but again, the material, I'm really genuinely, honest to God, material are fantastic. I'm not associated with them, but I was up at the shop in just outside Banbridge in Northern Ireland. I said I'd pop in and just really blown away by the quality of the material. Really, really good stuff. So this is the Kindale olive pine micro pine squirrel that I'm using. Really, really nice stuff. I'll take a short-ish length of it. Usually what I do is I'll have one fly selected and measured out, and then when I'm cutting pieces of the squirrel tail off, I'll just measure it from the fly that's been tied. That way I'm not wasting material, but I don't have one with me. But what I'll do here is I want to go upside down like that. So I'll thread it through the point of the hook, and it just basically sits a bit snugger. So upside down. Perfect. So when it's in the water, that's going to sit basically like that. What I'll do is I'll just move it up a little bit, and then I'll tie on. I'll create a wedge in behind the bead, and then make my way down. Tie that in. And then what I'll do is I'll just make a couple of wraps around the back. And this is a very, 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 very genuinely very simple pattern. It is as simple as it gets, I think. You guys can be the judge of that. So then what I'll do is I'll roughly cut length off. Don't want it too long, don't want it too short. And then what I'll do is I'll put the tail end into a triangle just so it swims a bit better. And then what I'll do here is I'm going to get some 3 mil. Nice. 3 mil or 0.3. Yeah, 0.3 mil green wire. I do have a set of other scissors that I use just for cutting wire, but they're probably in my fishing bag. Well, again, I think I showed this little technique before. What I'll do is I'll make a little crook with the wire, just that way it doesn't slip when I'm threading through. Even when I do wax the thread, I find it does slip a little bit. So because I'm putting that much tension on. Now once that's on, I'm going to get the white dubbing, which is somewhere. I was literally only looking at it there 2 seconds ago. Oh, there it is. So Deer Creek, the laser dubbing, I'm associated with Deer Creek. And what I'll do here is split the thread. As I struggle to split the thread. The risky thing with using scissors is you'll end up sometimes cutting the thread rather than actually splitting it. did have a good bobbin needle for this sort of thing, but got lost somewhere in the house. So now that's split. All I'll do is just tease this out. I know for a fact I don't need that much, so I'll pinch that off. Slot that in. Spin the bobbin holder. And knock it through. And once I've that done, then I'll take, depending on how I want the flies to come out, I'll just gently brush it with either Velcro or I've got a kind of wire brush. So what I'll do then is just wrap around, making my way up to near to the head, leaving enough room. So about there. See, this is the fun bit now. So what I'll do here is if sometimes I have too much, I'll break off and I'll get my something just to hold it. So whether it's hackle pliers, sometimes these things are hard to judge how much you need, how little you need. Any questions so far? Are we all good?
All good.
Now, once that's turned in, tie in, off, get my wire, and then I'll just make my way up towards 3 turns, 3.5. And then, oopsie daisy. Still focused? Yep, we are.
Yep.
To do the helicopter, keeping tension on the bobbin. And what I'll do then is I will get my wire dubbing brush here and just gently just pick through it. And just that way it gives it a nice rough look to it. Like so. Final bit then is the collar. And what I'll use, I do have kind of a dubbing clip, but I find it's actually not that great. It's actually it just doesn't actually hold that tightly. So instead, I just use a book clip, and does the job just as good. Now you can't really see clearly through it, but it takes a bit of getting used to. And then what I'm going to do is with the pine squirrel, I'm going to get yeah. So a nice long strip. And what I'll do then is clamp that in. Like so. And then just cut off. And then all I do here is with the clip, if obviously it's too tight like that or so, I'll just gently open up the clip with my dubbing needle, gently push it out. There we go, we got enough room there So when we split the thread, we just insert it. That's actually split just perfectly. Spin that around. And then we hackle. Like so. And then all I do here then is black marker, Sharpie, or whatever color you'd like to use. And then we get finally get our resin, our Deer Creek Fine Diamond. And quick finish. There, UV torch, which is nowhere to be found. Oh, there is. And that is a very simple, but rather effective little micro jig streamer using what is it, one, two, three more or less, three materials. Dubbing, squirrel, fox squirrel, and a rib. Obviously, you can do this in multiple colors: black, white, yellow. The world is your oyster. Fish it into a fast stream. Sorry, I just wanted to take that off the hook. There we go. Depending on the height of the river, start with dye 3, and then if you're finally not getting it to the bottom, switch to a dye 5, then up to a 7. Cast either up river or kind of across river and let it swing around. Streamer fishing is a really fun way to fish when the rivers are high. I think it's great now that it's kind of now turning in a sense that when people see a high river, like, well, that's out of order, the river's out of order, we can't go fishing anymore. But now that streamer fishing is becoming a lot more popular and people are coming around to the concept and the idea, you know, it's a good excuse to get out on the river and try something different as well. Yeah, it's good method. But that's a little micro jig streamer that I used this year that worked very, very efficiently. So I'll take any questions if anyone has any.
You guys want to unmute yourself, ask the question, and then remute. Nope.
No questions at all?
No, they're happy with that, George.
Fantastic. Let's see now. There we go. Okay. Don't know. I think I'll leave it with that. I don't know what time we're at. 20. Do you know what time it is?
Yeah, 25 past 8.
5 past 8. If you're all right, we can leave it at that. Just I've got to get stuff ready for work tomorrow. And get some dinner myself. But yeah, if there's any question at all, guys, I'm happy to answer. Anything to do with angling in Ireland, happy to answer. Cadence, fly rods related, happy to answer. What I'll do is I'll put the camera back there now. We can actually have a look at me. So yeah, anything related, angling related in Ireland, any of the flies tonight, you want to ask questions privately, ask away. More than happy to answer. Like I said, I think the key thing with the dry dropper is just wait. Don't sometimes too many turns will add weight down. And if you can cram as much material onto a hook, do so. Absolutely do so, because sometimes it just works out lovely. Actually, I have the fly I did last time, which was that stimulator, which I think Dan O'Neill said would work as a very good dry dropper on the River Nore. So I might actually bring that out with me this weekend, guiding. So I've got 4 out this weekend. So busy. But yeah, any question at all, guys, don't be afraid to ask. More than happy to help out, answer questions whatsoever.
Thanks for stepping in tonight, George.
No worries, guys. I hope you learned something anyway, and hope you enjoyed it. And I will hopefully chat to you all very soon.
Cheers, George.
Thank you very much
Yeah.
indeed. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Excellent.
thanks for getting out your time, George. That was very interesting.
Indeed.
No worries. Thank you very much, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot,
Have a great
George.
night, everyone.